Hi everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us for today for our October Alumni Webinar with Candace Ingham. My name is Robin McLaughlin and I am the Associate Alumni Director here at Northwood. If you have any questions during today's webinar, please use our Q&A feature to submit them. We will have time at the end for any questions that you may have for Candace. Candace is the business and marketing strategy component of the optometry practice Full Scope Eye Care, which she co-owns with her husband. They also own and manage a commercial property holdings company, TBR Property Holdings, LLC. She previously worked at AT&T as an SMB marketing consultant and corporate marketing trainer, as well as at Cleary University as an adjunct professor of marketing and entrepreneurship. Candace graduated from Michigan State University in 2003 with her bachelor's degree in merchandise management and received her MBA in 2008 from Northwood's DeVos School of Business. Thank you, Candace, for joining us today.
Thank you too. I really appreciate being here and looking forward to talking to you all about how to stack the odds in your favor as you are going through really anything in life. Could be career, could be family, could be governmental, could be really anything. So we're just going to go ahead and jump in and get started. So I'm not sure if everybody here is familiar with Northwood, but as we go along, there we go. We'll talk about and review who Northwood University is and the Northwood idea, which is entangled into the stacking the odds in your favor. We'll also go over some practical strategies for embracing growth opportunities, and then also the concept of a growth mindset and its significance in actually putting it into personal and professional development. And then navigating through these key principles in a way that you can cultivate that growth mindset and also use them in everyday life and just pretty much embed them into your heart mind. So it's just kind of the way that you live. So as we wait for the next slide to come through real quick, I want to make sure that it's changing on your side as well. There we go. All right, so I do have some promises for what you should be expecting during this webinar. Also, one possible warning. So during this webinar, hopefully what this does for you is inspire memories of when you've used these principles. I will not be treating today's webinar as something that possibly you've never even heard about before or something that you've never done. Maybe even something that you don't already have in your heart, mind, and soul anyways as a growth mindset. So hopefully it inspires memories of when you used a lot of these principles yourself, gives you that good feeling of when you have overcome obstacles and won. And then also, if you are going through some things right now that you need to overcome or that you need to achieve, definitely springboard you on to, through how to stack the odds in your favor and give you some ideas as to how you can, get back on track or get to that point you're looking for. I'm also very salt of the earth. If I actually come out and have a little bit of fun with the way that I present my material, or if I let off a couple Ric Flair woos when the moment strikes or when the mood strikes, that is my one possible warning. This information and this topic really gets me excited, so I may just be like, woo, whenever it happens. So just bear with me, smile, and just keep running up the scoreboard. So here we go. So a little bit about Northwood University is that, in case you haven't gone to Northwood or you just need a good reminder, is that they develop free enterprise leaders who drive global economic and social progress. And it's something that really they embed into your heart. And there's some people that are just born with that embedded in their heart, or those that want it to be there. But it's definitely something to where it just exudes out of every decision, every being that you make in all things in your life. Their vision is to inspire human potential. And if you make that one of your everyday things that you try to achieve, just to inspire human potential, that's huge. That's a growth mindset on its own, okay? And then just immersing yourself into learning how to advance economic freedom for everyone, everywhere. Not just for a certain group somewhere, but everyone, everywhere. because when you do advance that economic freedom, that's where magic happens. Okay. Now they also have the values that they affirm that the natural yearning in every human heart is to be free. And, you know, Lord, who doesn't want that? To go off and achieve your dreams, go off and overcome adversity, you know, take advantage of a free society, and, you know, be responsible for your individual freedom and your, you know, your personal success, you know, and the success of others. So there's a couple other down there that you can read from, you know, obviously with the values from Northwood University. But all of these values in this vision, it really gets me up and going and, you know, just excited, because I know when you implement it in real life, it's just where magic happens. So, oops, I clicked a little too many. Hang on one second. So Code of Ethics about Northwood University. They develop individuals who can explain their personal values. And I'm sure those of you that are on this call can do that or come pretty close, or are working on it even. You can appreciate the aesthetic. And I don't know if anybody's walked outside, but the trees are beautiful right now. So definitely take in and appreciate that aesthetic. The creative and spiritual elements of life, lifelong education seekers, that's exactly who they are. And they're effective self-evaluators and are action-oriented. And one of the biggest things when it comes to a growth mindset, which we will define in just a moment, is that action orientation, just really going out there and going for it. So as you can see, Northwood's Code of Ethics are here. You can go through those on your own, but all of those ethics do come into stacking the odds in your favor, and then also that growth mindset. So we'll keep moving. So a little bit about me, and you were given a little bit about my my background before we came in. If anybody ever asks me what I do for a living, you know, people ask you all the time. You go to events, you're talking to people, they ask you, so what do you do for a living? I don't have a title. I really don't, and it's hard for me to come up with one. I just tell people, hey, I make visions a reality, and that's what I do. You know, what do you do for a living? I make visions a reality. If you come to me with an idea and you're excited about it, I will either sit down with you and help you find a way to get it done, or I will sit down with you and say, hey, can I be a part of that idea too? That's pretty good. Or I may even say, you know what, I've already had that idea in my mind and I can't wait to do it. I'm glad you're ready. So that was what I had said to my husband when we opened Full Scope Eye Care. He came over to me and he said, babe, he's like, what do you think about opening our own practice? And I said, I think I've already built it in my head and I'm ready to do it, right? So that's a growth mindset, if it gives you any idea of an example. So in the future, I'm looking to actually open a med spa in this late December. So this upcoming December, I have a project that is only on paper, and it's going to be called the Twisted Tree, and I'm hoping to open that in late 2024, or start making that a reality in real life in 2024. And obviously my daughter would like a new horse, the sooner the better. So I guess that is a goal as well. It was going to be informal. Oh my goodness. I have 4 daughters that I homeschool. So obviously she wants a horse. That's adorable. So I apologize for that. So let's define a couple of things. So when I define things, I try to find the most creative way to define them. We're going to talk about what the Northwood idea is and what is a growth mindset that I've been talking about so much. When I was a professor, students would ask me, so, you know, what kind of professor are you? Like, what do you do? Like, what's so great about you? So I made up a little thing here, a little explanation of what I was for my first day as a professor. And I told them that it wasn't easy being a business image, style, and demographic finding, customer driving, market share stealing, wheeling, dealing, value sustaining, marketing consultant, living the dream, because I was a consultant at the time, who was also a student future caring, knowledge sharing, curiosity flaring, learning facilitating, debating, mediocrity hating, curriculum creating, adjunct marketing professor at a growing private university. But hey, it's fun to conquer those challenges with a little bit of flair. Woo! Right? So the easier way to identify what exactly I do and give you a little idea of, definitions. So just kind of makes it a little bit more fun, and we'll talk about fun later too. So the Northwood idea, one of the major goals Northwood has for its graduates is that they understand the nation's tradition of freedom and all of its corollaries, like individual freedom here and responsibility, moral law, earned success, the importance of free enterprise. These I'm not going to go into depth with. They are there for you to read through as well, but these will go into all of the things that you do out there with your mindset and your action or your actions. These are the things that you're going to be working in with that as well. So those are here. For the growth mindset, the definition of that is really having or believing that a person's abilities are not innate and be improved through effort, learning, and persistence. But growth mindsets are very powerful because you are more open to reflect, kind of think about, how did that go, right? Learn from how that went, and then grow from the challenges, make changes on the fly, right? Grow from those challenges. Some people are crippled by challenges. It happens. And challenges are not always easy. I get that. I will talk about them like they are here on this presentation, but I promise you in real life, when you're growing through them, they're not easy. So, but what is a positive about having a growth mindset is that even though fear can be crippling, it is less threatening when you have this mindset. And as I know you guys know, you are definitely more willing to embrace life's challenges or even bigger, scarier, BHAG dreams that you probably wouldn't do if you didn't have a mindset for it. It's so important. Also allows you to take feedback as a learning opportunity and to continue to learn and grow throughout life, instead of just saying, this is always the way it's always been. So a growth mindset really leads to a desire to learn and have an appetite for embracing and overcoming challenges, being persistent, like never giving up. You're going to get gritty, okay? And you're going to see over there people with a growth mindset are gritty. They're sleeve rollers. There's a book by Angela Duckworth, if I'm going to quote anything, and it's called Grit. She studied grit. It is one of the most amazing books I've ever read. Highly recommend it. But she talks a lot in there about how the level of your grit and the persistence and the reliability of going out there and being hungry, being humble, but being hungry, tenacious is really going to get you through. That's your growth mindset. That's the difference maker. Okay. So you definitely see your effort as a path to mastery. You learn from criticism. You're definitely inspired by others' successes, which is why I will talk about a few of mine here. I don't like talking about my successes. That's the humble part of me. It's just weird to me. It feels weird, but hopefully they inspire you as I go along and I talk about them. And then obviously you inspire others towards successes when you are, going through these with your teams and with people. All right. So here's where we're going to come in, and we're going to think big, and we're going to make it happen. So thinking big, we can think big all day long, right? We can live in this awesome dream up in our head all day long, but we got to make it happen. That's where the rubber meets the road, and you got to make it. So we're going to talk about what does it mean to actually stack the odds with that growth mindset. Of course, a little bit of life application to kind of get you thinking as to where we're going and what you're going to do with this. I will say ahead of time, I have no set answers for the events and the circumstances that you're in to be able to solve them. Number one, because I don't know what they are. But hopefully, like I said before, as we get into this, it's going to inspire some ideas. It's going to inspire some action and inspire you to go forward and achieve your dreams or your goals. So stacking the odds in your favor is the definition of that, really, and sometimes it has a negative connotation to it. I don't take it as a negative because I love doing it and I do it for the benefit of everyone. And so that when somebody asks me, what motivates you, I always tell them, well, power. That's what motivates me. And some people will take that as a negative. And I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. It's the power to make life and the quality of life better for everybody else. That's my purpose here. I make visions happen and I increase quality of life. What I do. So when you talk about stacking the odds in your favor, when that's your purpose, you look at it as, to make it more likely for someone or everyone to win, succeed, or etc. Manipulate an event in order to change the likelihood of an outcome. So manipulate is a pretty harsh word, but it's really just competitive strategy, right? And then you've got to go out and perform to the highest level that you possibly can. Not saying I'm the best, I'm just saying I'm pretty gritty, so, and we do hit pretty high levels as to what we accomplish in life, which is do it. So you will come across those obstacles, and execution is hard. I mean, it's really hard, and it's not always fun, and arguing's not fun, and not getting along with someone on the team is not fun, and it's just execution is hard. Mistakes are hard, especially when they're at a magnitude, right? Best thing to do is, at least from my perspective, was to make execution fun. Have fun with it, and you get to define, and your team gets to define, or your family gets to define what that fun actually looks like and what it is. So you can get real creative as to what that looks like. And you may already be having fun, the team that you're with, and you're winning. That may already be there. You're executing at the highest level possible. And that's a great thing. It's like a magic place to be. Good. So as you execute, and maintaining that is a great thing. As you hire people in, or you bring people into the team, or you bring people into the study group, it's always making sure that they can maintain that culture that you've created, right? That they're immersing themselves into it instead of, destroying it. So you have to protect that culture really well, because that execution piece gets a lot harder when your culture's not right, right? So that's something that definitely, with that growth mindset and all those applications to a growth mindset, you can do with stacking the odds in your favor. Another example is talking too much at meetings. Doing that a lot today, to be honest. I don't talk a lot at meetings. It drives me nuts. I am much more of a tactical person, and you may be running your meetings like this already, but do as you meet. Like, if you say, well, I'll send that person an email. Just send it right now. Like, just send the email right now. It'll be okay. Or, you know what, I want to move this furniture around. I want to change the scope and the look of everything inside of this retail space. Start moving it. Don't talk about where things are going to go, because the best way to do it is just see it, right? And move it as you see it and do it. So again, tactical meetings are sometimes a lot more productive and exciting, fun than anything else. Knowing your why. If anybody's ever asking, why am I even doing this? It's definitely good to know the company's why, your why, and definitely your role within within the company and your value. That will get you through a lot of hard times when things start to really weigh heavy on your shoulders. Or in study groups or whatever it may be. Asking yourself, did we do a good job? Did we hit our goal? Definitely be clear on what success looks like. And, if you do hit that goal, or if your team does hit that goal, please celebrate it in a great way that they feel it, like deep down in their heart, they feel it. There's one in here, it's, but what if we fail? What if we fail? Well, there's always chance for failure. So, I'm always a person of, oops, that didn't work out very well. So when that happens, you just say, you know what, in our culture, this is a learning environment. We thought it was going to work. It did not. Let's quickly shift over. Because you have to face it, you're not going to win every down, right? You're not going to win every play. And you've just got to be able to say, you know what, let's just keep moving down the field. Let's just keep the chains moving, and we'll get there. We just got to make a quick change. All we need, and then you just keep moving on. This is the way we've always done it. That one drives me nuts. That's where, hopefully, with that growth mindset, you're looking at things with creative problem solving, and that evolution is encouraged within the group or within the company that you're in. Another one of my favorites, and I hear this one out of my kids because they're working, in groups now with their coworker or with their students, co-students, and it's, well, they didn't get their part done, so I couldn't do my part, and because I couldn't do my part, we couldn't get it all together. I understand, right? I understand. We've all been there. And there's times where you have to step in and do some parts for people, which is not always fun, but definitely taking accountability and owning it, and just saying, you know what, I own this, got to get done no matter what. The sooner you own something, the easier it is to fix. Just part of that growth mindset is ownership and getting everybody to own the piece that they need to get done. Assuming things will just magically happen. We have an event coming up on November 16th. We're launching some new treatments that we have brought into the practice for dry eye treatments. It's done with radio frequency and heat, and it's absolutely spa-like and wonderful. I'm very excited about it. And also Impulse Light, which is wonderful as well. And it's that event's just not going to magically make itself appear, even though we have work on top of all of us. So there's got to be time made, as I'm sure you guys know, to do the extra on top of the everyday. Then those benchmarks, have your accountability cadence there for you, have those that you're accountable for, be accountable to them, and meet back and forth. And that accountability cadence is really good. I'm going to meet with you on this day, you're going to meet with me on this day, we're going to talk about this, we're going to do this, I will do, you guys know what it is, you guys know. So I'm not talking to anybody that doesn't know. So, or how about just the word no? It shuts everything down, right? Like totally shuts everything down. So when it comes to growth mindset, the answer may be no, but yes and is an improv tactic, and it talks about how you can be like, you know what, that's a great idea. That's a really cool idea and I love it. But right now, there's reasons why we can't tack that on right now, but let's do that later in the future, right? So my instance, it'll be like, you know what, frame lines. We've got really cool frame lines that want to do business with. I would love to do business with them. That's a yes, right? However, I've got other things going on right now. And even though it's a not yet, let's look at this down the road. Even though I'd love to have them right now, it's not the right time. So we'll table that and we'll work towards it and we'll get there when we can. So, and there's a plan in place to get them on the boards, but they just can't be there yet. So that's the yes and versus just the no, we're not going to bring anything new in. So it works a lot easier, and it gives you, it's more of a growth mindset, and it keeps the practice fresh. And then of course, low talent and drive on the team. That's when you can really do some training, some entertaining. That doesn't work out, then some amicable leave taking, right? So we all know sometimes the hard part about being on a team or having a team or working with somebody, sometimes you just have to say, you know what, this just isn't working out. And if you need anything from me, as you go, I understand. Or some might come to you and say, you know what, I just can't be a part of this team anymore. And I've got to go somewhere else. Make it amicable. So that's all you can do. Hope all of this is going well for you so far, because I can't see any of you. As far as execution, I will leave this one to you guys. I wanted to go through that one, the last one in depth with you. But this one's really talking about more or less implementing your plan. And I do want to make sure that I am working well on time because I have like 5 minutes left. So have you take a look at this one on your own. It's the same type of slide where it goes along and kind of gives you an idea of where you can start and hopefully springboard you into how you can use that in your everyday life. All right. So when you get into thinking even bigger, because bigger, like scary big, and making it happen, this is where you need to take the Northwood idea and a growth mindset and come up with some brilliance. And the reason why I put food here is because typically this is where you're going to need to grab your coffee or your drink of choice, this coffee, and snacks, because you're going to get hungry. This is where the work comes in. So let's bring Northwood and the beliefs, the Northwood idea, into the growth mindset and stacking the odds in your favor. There are slides here that you can go through on your own. These are ones that really need to be sat down with and reflected on, if that makes sense, and read through and thought about. These are ones where big ideas can come to mind and things can happen. So when you talk about individual freedom and responsibility, there's examples here to that. There's the growth mindset, and then there's also stacking the odds in your favor. And as you're looking at this slide and you're reflecting on it, you can say, you know what, how do I take, meeting my own family's needs and other families' needs? How do I set that as, to a growth mindset and stacking the odds in my favor, right? Or in just in favor in general. So that's something that you're going to want to, if you want to, take this, put it all together, and then make it happen, right? Execute on it. Same thing here for moral law. Great way to incorporate all of this, either as a group, either as, individually, all of those things. So same thing with earned success. This one's a fun one because obviously success has a price. As we talked about, we encourage personal choices that drive progress through courage, self-discipline, hard work, thrift. And this is a fun one to go through that exercise with and just really think about, reflect on, make something better for you and others around you. And of course, the importance of free enterprise, which is where my heart beats anyways, right? So, because free enterprise really just in turn, it advances the prosperity of funding schools, charities, government services, society in general. I mean, it's all good things that if you set a growth mindset to, stack the odds in its favor, great things can happen. So closing sentiments, this here, and we were talking about this earlier, not us, but the two of us here on the call, we were talking about dads and having kids and things like that. So this is my dad. He is the man that has been the growth mindset on steroids whole life. My growth mindset, and that's me right there, adorable, not really, but always teaching me to push boundaries and do the best I possibly ever can. And he's done that for students, football players, co-workers. I mean, everybody that you can possibly think of that comes within his path, that is what he does. So closing sentiments from him that he inspired this presentation is that you can't coach personal competitiveness. You just got to be naturally hungry. And I think that can resonate with a lot of you. Recognize where the defense is and then position yourself by creating the best angle. Just the best way to describe competitive advantage, right? And competitive strategy and how you're going to be the best you possibly can be. Stacking the odds in your favor. Be flexible enough to be prepared for any situation and be able to make fast decisions. Keep up with the latest technology and be able to communicate its value, right? And I'm sure with a lot of you being in IT, if you're watching this, or just technology in general, that's a huge deal. Watching what your competitors are doing and capitalizing on their weaknesses. Just because you're number one doesn't mean you want to slow down. And I've always I've always known that in life, and it's fun to be number one and not slow down. And it's fun to be number two and chase number one. So it's a good journey. Let everybody know they're a big part of your team. This one resonates to my heart. Find your catalysts. Those are the people who change the momentum of the game, and also be a catalyst. I will tell you, when I was going to Northwood, and I was in a group of people 10, 15 years older than me, because I didn't have much experience in the workforce at all. I was in my early 20s, early 20s when I was in my master's degree. And I was intimidated by the amount of catalysts that were in the room. I didn't feel as though I measured up. And they were the people that were changing the momentum of not just the classroom, but everywhere that they were in general. And the fact that they even let me hang out with them, and took me in for marketing and those classes, which they were very good at other classes as well, but they took me in and my expertise in marketing, really meant a lot to me. They are probably the best class of Northwood ever, if I can say so myself. But incentives, you're going to want to celebrate your wins, recognize your catalysts like I just did, and the team goals and individual goals that you achieve. And I think I said this one before too, but you're not going to win every play, but just keep moving the chain, right? Just keep moving the chains down the field, and everything will do just fine. Just keep moving, keep going. And create an environment where people don't want to go home, or they want to come back to every day. I have a lab in Green Bay that has done that, and it's awesome. It's an awesome place to be, and they are the catalyst in our industry. And then, of course, keep a smile on your face and run up the scoreboard. So that would be my dad in a nutshell. So just keep right on winning and helping everybody else along the way. So that is my presentation for the day. I thank you so much for taking a part of your lunch and a couple extra minutes as well, for me to be able to finish up all of that. And I hope I inspired some action out of you, and also some great thoughts as to how you're going to move forward in the future with a growth mindset and being able to stack the odds in your favor. And guys, I'm going to hand it back off to you.
Thank you so much, Candace. Everyone, again, if you have any questions for Candace, feel free to use the chat or the Q&A feature. We did have one question come over. We will be sharing the slide deck. Candace has given permission, so we send post webinar email. We'll send the slide deck along with the recording. And then Kimberly also asked about the book that you recommended, and so I found it online. So it's Angela Duckworth. It's Grit, the Power of Passion and Perseverance.
Highly recommended. Yes. So good.
Perfect. No questions have come in so far, but I just had one question. Like, with all of your projects and your kids and everything you have, like, how do you prioritize and manage everything?
Well, let me take a drink of coffee really quick. I don't know. I always tell people I don't think, I just do. Like it just gets done. Like I guess when you talk about like being thrown in the fire, and you just live in the fire, you figure out just how to do it. And yes, I do homeschool my kids. I do run a couple businesses, adding a couple projects, but at the same time, when I was at Northwood and they were telling me that it was an assignment that you had to do, and you had to type out, what you wanted to accomplish in life. The first thing that I wrote was, I want to be a momtrepreneur. I want to raise my kids, and I want to own businesses. And I didn't know what that meant at the time, because I was in my young 20s. I wasn't even married yet. But that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so I talked about it. I said I wanted to own properties, I wanted to own businesses, and I wanted to be with my kids. And so homeschooling my kids, I have a room in my building that that my kids homeschool in. I'm right across the hall in our doctor's office. And And they are incorporated in almost everything that we do. It's family all the time. So, and then you just schedule out events and obviously horsies and dance and whatever else that, you know, your kids are in, soccer, and you make it happen.
Perfect. We don't have any other questions. I don't think everyone's just saying great presentation. Thank you so much. But something you said actually at our Outstanding Alumni Awards, one of our honorees, Regina Brickle, talked about, she said she raised her kids, but she also ran a business, and she said you can do both, and she just really focused on that, and that really kind of resonates with what you said as well.
Yeah, it's wild, but it's fun. It's a good ride. I enjoy it.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope to see you next month for our next webinar, which will go over how to increase the alumni, using the alumni network to expand your connections. We had one person put, FYI, Grit is available at the Strohsacker Library for checkout. Thank you, Becky, to any students or alumni on here. It was also a past OmniQuest book that we did. So good to know. Thank you, Becky, for putting that in the chat. All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining. We hope to see you next month.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.